Now, you say Mr. Davis came to your home.
Yeah.
What time of day was that?
I would say about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
And what happened? Please describe that incident to the court.
My wife and I were sitting having dinner in the television room, and we heard a knock on the door. And Pete, my neighbor, usually pops in about that time. He comes over and has a glass of wine and chit-chat. So I thought it was Pete knocking at my door. I said, "Come on in." And upon that time, I seen Mr. Davis in my house approaching me in the living room where the family TV was.
Did Mr. Davis say anything to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He pointed his finger and he said, "If you ever touch anything I do again or ruin my fire pit that my grandchildren..." So, and I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even recognize him at first. Didn't know who the guy was.
Mr. Baker, did you feel threatened by that incident?
Yes, I did.
California, 1997. Summary judgment denied to members of LAPD death squad, with court finding that they potentially could be held liable for structuring arrest situation so that excessive force was likely to be used by them, and so that it was likely that when they used excessive force, then they could claim defense of self-defense. Defendants included Brian Davis, deadly force case.
I don't think I got it either.
I got to put it on letter. I got one that's for, damn it. I can't believe this is a resident of John Andrea, caretaker for Mary Andrea. No trespassing. Look at that. That's crazy. And then take a picture of the whole thing. Where's the serial? Wasn't that her camera?
That's in the back of the car.
Is that moving or what? And then, trying to find a...
That's unbelievable. What?
I didn't answer.
Well?
Well, you know, Brian, all the parts of things about the house that Mary and I know about, that are important, she made sure that they're just gone. But she didn't do anything about really shoring it up and making
No.
it, you know.
Or the routed log right here?
Yeah. Private residence.
Of John Andrea. What the F is that? Of John Andrea.
John Andrea.
All right, here we go.
Up the whole thing with Mary and then.
Yeah. Here, we should put Carrie in the picture. Come on, Carrie. Because you're up there.
Yeah, Brian, I'll get him in.
Hang on.
Oh. Probably got a bomb inside of there.
No.
Or a trap. Better than Steve. Yeah, copy of it.
Okay, we got it. Where's the
Yeah,
other?
be careful in there.
Yeah.
Please, thanks.
That's time to get it. Now that. Bullshit.
Oh, no, you wanted to save that stuff.
What?
You wanted to save that, not rip it up.
I'm trying to pull it down without tearing it.
He's taller than you.
And I can't tear it, I can't pull it down.
Oh, he's taller than you.
Well, he's being careful.
Yeah.
Here, does anybody want to sit here and take a shit?
Make a muscle up there. Do it. I'm gonna get a picture.
I did.
I'm gonna take a second. That is mine. Okay, let's go. Yay! My place. Well, it is my place. Not sure the hell it's John Dandridge's place. Private residence. Private residence.
Doesn't say so anymore. Name on that board.
Yay! My place! Yeah, wait a second here. Hang on. My place. You know. This place is probably booby trapped, you guys.
We can be here.
I'm gonna put a camera in here, obviously. See what we're gonna do.
Is that camera recorded?
Huh?
You should replace the alarm log before they went through all this trouble.
Hurry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna drive by Mom's place and check it out. I will.
You check on my client. Slide the door.
Look at Megan. Megan going through that. Sad, sad.
discuss.
Oh, really, when you have wet?
No, we're here.
Oh.
We're gonna go and check.
Okay, you're gonna move your car? No, I'm gonna not move it, so you'll be mad at us. We're gonna move your car. Go move the car.
How long are you up here for?
What, us? Yeah. Huh? What? You know, the best thing I like about your place. You know, the best thing I like about your place is that big block. Well, better take that thing together.
Did Mary ever talk to you about the concept of letting her son reside there rent-free?
Never, ever.
When did you become aware that he was residing there?
I think I became aware on Easter Sunday this past year when my sister Wilma and I walked over there.
What happened on that occasion?
We were just having a nice walk after we had to cut the lock off the door.
Is that you in that photograph, man?
Could be.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you know if that's a photograph of the inside of the house?
I wouldn't know unless you told me.
Do you have a recollection of having your photograph taken inside the house?
It could be me and it could be the house. I don't know. I absolutely was not allowed in the house. I could only peek in through the windows. And that was only when they weren't around.
Did you ask for permission to go into the house?
I certainly did. They absolutely had everything locked. Everything. And would not allow me in it. She was over there when I came over there. Besides calling me filthy names. And they would not let me in there. They didn't let me in.
When you peeked through the windows of the cabin, do you recall what you saw?
They took the few things that they thought were worth saving and just ruined the rest. It looks like the house that Jack built.
At what time did you encounter anyone there who tried to prevent you from going on the property?
Well, prevent us from going in the house. Then we went back up to the house. The house was locked. Carrie was locked out of the house. And we went back up to the house, and Mary and Nellie were yelling. In fact, I took a number of photographs, and I think you have them. And Mary was telling Carrie that Carrie wanted to get in the house, and she told her, nope, it's not your house, it's mine. I'm the one that's put all the money into this. This is my house.
April, Terry Lynn completely exposed her breasts and said, "Do you like them?" She yelled to Mary, "You ugly whore," many times, and numerous other things such as bitch, whore, fucking bitch, whore, by Asian Minge, 13 years old.
On prior or subsequent occasions, did you go to the property with Carrie?
Oh, yes.
Name?
So it was in August 2010, I believe. Yeah, it was. And I can see, actually, Jean Coleman, my aunt, in this photograph, and I do believe this is Carrie, although it's not a good picture of her. And I think this one person in the photograph might be my sister, Rhonda. Both of my sisters were here, my mom, my Aunt Jean, Terry, some other guy, I don't remember his name, his been to my grandmother's memorial. Dania, who lives up in Pack River, was there. There were a number of us. I don't even remember who all.
Okay, so it's quite an event.
Yeah.
Was Mary Andrea there?
No.
Okay. Do you recall how you got in the house?
You know, I believe we broke a lock, but I'm not certain. Because, you know, I wasn't the one that got into the house. It was, if we broke a lock, it was probably my husband, because he's usually the one that, you know, is the strong one that can do that.
Retired LA cop.
That's right.
At some point in time, under extreme difficulty, I was able to get in that house.
Do you remember about when that was?
Of course, it wasn't this year, and of course, it wasn't in 11. Also wasn't in 10 or 9. So I would venture this would be 208. But it's been years since I've actually been able to be in that house. No, at the beginning, though, I thought it was useless because I thought I trusted Mary and I thought she trusted me. Why bother with the trust? And now I'm beginning to wonder again. Yeah.
You did not object to
No,
the creation of the trust, did you?
No, I did not. I didn't.
In December of 2009, Terry Boyd Davis and Brian F. Davis filed a small claims case against John Pandria for allegedly tearing down a fence in May of 2009. John Pandria spent May of 2009 in the state of Hawaii.
Well then, in August of '09, I ran into my Aunt Mary up there, and she told me that her son John tore the fence.
Terry Lynn said to my grandma, Nellie Gilbertson, somebody destroyed our property. They might destroy yours. Then to Mary said, we know who did it. It was your son.
But a sheriff came to my home, and I was just arriving from Los Angeles, and I had my friend staying there, and we were just sitting down to have dinner, and a sheriff pulls up and says, I've had a complaint that you tore down a fence. I said, what fence? So he walked me back there, and there was some Los Angeles Police Department crime scene or something like that, yellow tape, and it was on the ground.
And in regards to the rebuilding the fence, yes, we have put up the yellow tape.
The Davis's fence, which consisted of official LAPD police line crime scene do not cross, aka the yellow tape, was strung across the Baker's land. What in the world was that official LAPD property doing strung up across the Baker's land in North Idaho? What in the world?
Now, you say Mr. Davis came to your home.
Yeah.
What time of day was that?
I would say about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
And what happened? Please describe that incident to the court.
My wife and I were sitting having dinner in the television room, and we heard a knock on the door. And Pete, my neighbor, usually pops in about that time. He comes over and has a glass of wine and we chit-chat. So I thought it was Pete knocking at my door. I said, come on in. And upon that time, I seen Mr. Davis in my house approaching me in the living room or family TV room.
Did Mr. Davis say anything to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He pointed his finger and he said, if you ever touch anything I do again or ruin my fire pit that my grandchildren. So, and I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even recognize him at first. Didn't know who the guy was.
Mr. Baker, did you feel threatened by that incident?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Baker, in that email, you were referred to and called a bunch of names. Is that correct?
Yes,
You were called a big crybaby, correct?
that's right.
Also references you as the picked-on little fat kid who overcompensated by being a bully.
Yes,
Also calls you a bully and a jerk, does it not?
that's what it said.
Ms. Boyd Davis also referred to you as a tattletale and a mouse of a man, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now you mentioned an incident where plaintiff Brian Davis came over to your house, and did you threaten to shoot Brian Davis?
Yes, I did.
What did you say to him about shooting
I
him?
was so upset at the time for this person to come into my home and threaten me in my home. I said, if you ever set foot on my property again, I'll shoot you.
Feel threatened by Mr. Davis?
Well, I was shocked.
Did you invite Mr. Davis to come over to your property?
No,
And you're in the middle of litigation, correct?
that's correct.
What time of day did he show up at your house?
I don't know the exact time, but it was sometime after 5 o'clock. It was already dark time
you know, so, I mean, it could even be 7 o'clock for all I know. You know, we were just sitting there having dinner and we were watching television.
Did it surprise you to have someone you're involved in litigation with show up at your house?
Very surprising.
Okay. Thank you. When you say someone placed your name, how do you mean?
Well, we used to have a sign on the fence when we first erected it that said, "This is the property of Tim and Carol Baker." And it had been ripped, and only our name, Tim and Carol Baker, it was planted right on top of this pile.
No.
Have you been in stressful situations in the past?
Yes, numerous times.
Have you been trained to handle stressful situations?
Yes, I have.
By whom?
United States Naval Warfare Command, United States Marine Force Recon, United States Air Force, Delta Force, FBI, CIA, Secret Service, and numerous private agencies.
Have you been in life and death situations before?
Numerous times.
Have you been in situations where people around you are being shot at and killed?
Numerous times.
Did you consider those situations stressful?
Yes.
Did you yell and scream in those situations?
No.
Have you been commended for your handling of highly stressful situations?
No, I'm going to object to this whole line of questioning. It's going way beyond the scope.
I think we are going beyond the scope. I'll sustain.
My next witness is Terry Boyd Davis. And I will be questioning myself.
You will be. It's not the first time that this has happened.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Please state my name. My name is Terry Boyd Davis. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may. You don't have to ask that.
I am going to order plaintiffs from having any direct contact during the pendency of this action.
Your Honor, just so I'm clear with that, you neither one of us should initiate any contact.
Mr. Davis, you knew better than to go into that house. Don't go confront someone. Ms. Coleman, do you have any questions?
She's not here.
I'm sorry, who?
I'm sorry, this is my mother, Ethel Boyd. Jean Coleman's not here today.
I apologize.
Okay, they're sisters, they look alike.
Terry Boyd Davis, signing motions and filings as Terry Boyd Davis, plaintiffs pro se. It appears on behalf of all of the plaintiffs. That was just too much. The defense to this, really I'll fashion her defense as twofold. The first is that they're similarly situated parties, and the second is that this isn't the appropriate remedy. Well, as the similarly situated parties, Your Honor, that doesn't mean that she can practice law. The second is as to the appropriateness of the remedy. She's right. We have tried to fashion an equitable remedy, and we would appeal to this court to fashion an equitable remedy. The appropriate action here is contempt, 6 months in jail, $500 fine.
There was an unauthorized practice of law.
Posted on YouTube by Terry Boyd Davis, March 24, 2012. Brian just got through watching this, and it made him mad all over again that they did this. He said John is lucky he did not catch him in the act. Indeed. Deanna Boyd Barrett posted on YouTube, March 24, 2012. Wow, how do these people live with themselves? And how do they manage to deceive other family members into believing that they are justified in their evil deeds? I just cannot wrap my mind around it. Sunday, May 27, 2012, at approximately 10:45 a.m., I was sitting at my table upstairs doing paperwork on my computer at my residence at 4687 Upper Peck River Road. I turned and looked out my front window. To my surprise, shock, and horror was Brian F. Davis standing in my front yard, peering at me through my upstairs window, holding a brown, short-haired, square-head dog on a leash. I was afraid for my life. I believe Mr. Davis intends to harm me. I believe he was carrying a gun, as he was wearing a light-colored jacket with a bulge on the right side just above the waistline. I turned and picked up the phone, and when I looked back, I saw no one. Statement of John Pandria, May 27, 2012. On Sunday, May 27, 2012, I was at my residence, which overlooks the driveway into the Pandria Gillette residences. At about 10:50 a.m., I noticed and witnessed a gray-haired man traveling on foot southeasterly along the driveway, headed away from the Pandria Gillette residences. About 20 minutes later, I saw the same man standing on the Upper Pack River Road, just down the road from my driveway. The man had a brown, short-haired, medium-large dog on a leash and was talking with a police officer who was in a patrol car. Statement of John Thornton, Sunday, May 27, 2012. Mr. Davis looked at me as he walked by and said, "Snitch, you better watch that gun." I said to him, "You better watch that gun," referring to my shotgun I was holding. And then Mr. Davis showed me his concealed revolver, which he had holstered on his right side under his jacket. It was a very grave situation, in my opinion. I was very upset. The three trespassers showed total disregard for myself and John Pandria. About a half hour later, Deputy Flynn of the Bonner County Sheriff pulled up. He told me that John Pandria was on the verge of being arrested for false reporting. I was shocked. I believe that would be a violation of John's constitutional rights as a U.S. citizen. I do not know any of the individuals who trespassed. I know of Mr. Davis and what he looks like, but I do not know the individual. They did not announce who they were. I received no notice of any kind that the landlord or any agent of the landlord was going to be at my residence. I believe that no one has the right to invade my privacy and harass me with a gun. I believe that no one has the right to visit my residence without my permission. That is my understanding of the law. Statement of James A. Gillette, Sunday, May 27, 2012. Posted on YouTube, March 24, 2012. I love that they have reaped what they sowed. Love it, love it, love it. Terry Boyd Davis. Two perpetrators got into their car and drove 40 feet to where I was sitting and stopped their car. Carrie Clark exited their car. Carrie Clark looked at me and began berating me in a very unladylike fashion. She told me, "You're fucking Mary. You're fucking Nellie. You son of a bitch, you bastard." Then she jumped back into the car. The other heavyweight lady flipped her middle finger into the air at me in a very unladylike fashion. They sped off while I laughed at the absurd, vicious insanity that I had just witnessed. James A. Gillette, April 8, 2012.
Why did he dissolve the trust and convey the properties out of the trust in June 2010?
First of all, I thought it would be kind of nice to go up to my own property and not be harassed, not be called dirty names, not have people yelling at me, driving past me. Yes, that's why.
And by your own property, are you referring to parcel number 10, or are you referring to 1, 2, and 10 altogether?
Number 1 belongs to Mary Pandria, my sister Mary Pandria. The other 2 are not. My house. I want to see how my house is today. My house.
trespassing on a private residence.
You son of a bitch, this
Go.
is you're trespassing.
This is my private residence. Do not harass me. This is my private residence. Do not harass me. Go.
Get the hell out of here.
This is my private residence. You do not have the right to harass me. Go.
I guess he doesn't want so what did you guys
This is my private residence. You do not have the right to harass me. Go now. Go now, people. This is my private residence. You do not have the right. I'm calling the cops.
Is Mommy here today taking care of you?
This is my private residence. Go now.
We loved your music.
You do not have the right to harass me. This is my private residence. Go now.
I'm working on electrical today. Before I was so rudely interrupted. Well, oh no, now you got more, Mom. This is Ethel right here. You know what? You're trespassing. You're trespassing, people. You need to leave, people. Hey, Mom.
You'll be charged with trespassing. You're involved in a lawsuit with me. You're not allowed on my property by law. You can't be.
Ethel Boyd has a beautiful riverfront residence on the Pack River. Ethel and her guests have easy access to the Pack River. The Boyds go out of their way across the Pack River Bridge, trespass across the Thornton's land, to trespass and harass the Pandrias. Ethel Boyd is vigorously and blatantly attempting to vilify Mary and steal Mary's land through treacherous and deceptive means. Ethel is an unwelcome intruder at the Pandrias, and she knows it very well. Ethel has been unwelcome since she began victimizing Mary in 2005. Ethel and her daughters call Mary's land, quote, our family farm. Mary purchased and has owned this land since 1981. Mary has made many improvements along the way. Ethel Boyd's actions violate law and order over and over. The fact that she manipulates others into her tools for harassment, including children like her grandson Joey Barrett, seen in the preceding video clip shoving Mary with his grandmother Ethel peacefully looking on, is extremely troubling and damaging. Ethel Boyd and Terry Boyd Davis have both been told to stay away from the Pandrias residence. On September 1st, 2012, again without Pandrias permission or proper court order, Ethel and Terry were captured on video creeping around the Pandrias residence. Camera 2 looks southeast down the upper access road at a location which an intruder could easily step off of the road down onto a rock outcropping and peer directly down at the Pandrias back windows and house no more than 200 feet away. Ethel Boyd, followed by Terry Boyd Davis. Deanna Boyd Barrett posted on YouTube March 24, 2012. Wow, ugly is as ugly does. Beauty may be skin deep, but ugly is to the core. What the fuck? Mom is right. Mary must be stopped. Kudos to you and Mom for fighting and winning against those evil bitches. Put on your Wonder Woman suit and get down with your bad self. Hell yes. Camera 4 is attached to Gillette's residence looking southeast down Pandrias Gillette's driveway at 4687 Upper Pack River Road. Mary Pandria drives up her driveway. She believes she sees Ethel Boyd and Terry Boyd Davis up ahead, trespassing near Mary's house. Terry Boyd Davis appears to be holding a pistol. Mary quickly pulls up as the two intruders duck into the bushes. Carrie and Ethel ducked into the bushes near Mary's house, circumnavigated Mary, then quickly and calmly exited out of the bushes and down Mary's driveway. Terry Boyd Davis apparently gave Ethel's pistol back to her. Watch as Ethel struggles to holster her gun, just like she struggled to pull it out, as seen on camera 2. One hour had passed from the time Terry and Ethel were first seen on camera 2. They have been creeping around Mary and her son's residence uninvited, unwelcome, and without due process of law, with what appears to be a firearm, for about an hour. Kerry Clark committed fraud against Mary Pandrea in 2010 with the assistance and guidance of Shirley Beatty and Terry Boyd Davis.
And by your own property, are you referring to parcel number 10, or are you referring to 1, 2, and 10 altogether?
Number 1 belongs to Mary Pandrea, my sister Mary Pandrea. The other 2 are not.
So you conveyed out of the trust by virtue of Exhibit 44, all 100% of parcel number 2 to yourself, didn't you?
Actually, my attorney made a mistake. I only wanted my original 5.3 acres that my father had willed to me. She made a mistake, and it took quite a bit of undoing. Well, I didn't mean to say that. Just like everybody makes mistakes. I hadn't intended to take that, and Shirley didn't mean to do it either.
Shirley made it.
Yeah, she didn't mean to do that.
Did Shirley prepare those deeds?
Yes.
Your niece prepared those deeds, didn't she?
No, she didn't.
Who's your niece?
Who's your niece? Well, I mean, I've got lots of nieces. Who do you want to know?
Do you have a niece that works for Shirley Beatty?
No.
Do you have a niece that works near Shirley Beatty?
I don't know this town. It's the only first time I've been here in my life.
Carrie Clark was born and raised in North Idaho. Carrie has lived her entire life in the Pacific Northwest.
Carrie Boyd Davis.
Yes. But she didn't. Otherwise, it wouldn't cost me so much. It cost me a lot of money.
Did somebody put you up to conveying property out of the trust, the 15 to yourself, the 5 back to Mary, and you jumped in? Did somebody put you up to that? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. Thank you.
Jesus.
Carrie Clark again committed fraud against Mary Pandrea in May of 2012. The following document excerpts represent the recently discovered, due to its covert non-disclosure, fraudulent conveyance of May 2012. The names of the following individuals appear on the document, testimony to their own personal involvement in another fraud designed to harm Mary Pandrea. Shirley Beatty Law, top of page, returned to Terry Boyd Davis, upper left. Delivered by Ethel Boyd, upper right. Deanna Boyd Barrett, Kenneth Barrett, beneficiaries. And Carrie Clark, grantor trustee. Well, once again, we have a blatant attempt to steal through fraud the land and residence that Mary has worked very hard to establish and maintain, known as 4687 Upper Pack River Road.